Hello everyone, I am Darrell E. McCullough and I want to thank you for joining me once again for another video, this time on the top 10 albums that changed my life. But first, I want to give a little background on myself. With all honesty, I can't even look at an album without thinking of my childhood. Um, I was a little popular on the street, growing up as a kid, and lots of friends, and we would have a lot of fun playing together. That is until right around, I'm gonna say 6:30, 7 o'clock p.m. And all my friends would just disappear. They would just disappear. Well, why? Because my stepfather was a DJ, and my friends knew that right around that time, I'm going to need at least one of them to help me load up the car, load up the station wagon, as we used to say. And they hated it, and I hated it as well. I with all, just with all that lugging, all that heavy equipment all over town, my groin hurts to this very day. I hated it. Now, despite this, all that childhood pain, I always loved music. And over time, I've amassed a small collection of vinyl albums, not to mention countless CDs and cassettes. I say, about 60% of my now deceased stepfather's albums, and then the remaining mine. So I want to show you a quick video of my, before we get into the countdown, I want to show you a quick video of my stereos, how I even play the vinyl, and also a few stores in Toledo, Ohio that have helped me as of late to add to my collection. Okay, let's get to this countdown, and it's really not a countdown. These albums that I'm pulling, they are not in numerical order. I just grabbed the albums that I thought changed my life, and I'm just gonna show them to you accordingly. Okay, here, I'm gonna go with Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. And my first real job, I was working third shift, and I was the only black person on that shift. And it was third shift, and it was laid back, so they would listen to music. And if you, after you hear Led Zeppelin 50 times a week, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And I chose to ultimately love it. And I'm just looking here, a few songs. I mean, Kashmir, also 10 years gone by. I mean, lots of memories, great memories. Just a great album. Now, of course, there are other hits on this album besides those two that I named, but those two affected me. And listening to Led Zeppelin introduced me not only to more Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, and everything else, but also other groups like Pink Floyd and Jethro Tull, just to name a few. So Physical Graffiti, just a great, great album. Up next, The Doors. When growing up, I always likened myself to a poet. I wrote poetry. And when I was introduced to the Doors, I always looked at Jim Morrison as a poet. You know, he was actually called the American poet, the Lizard King. You know, so yes, the Doors, and this is the best of the Doors. And I mean, it's just loaded with hits. Break On Through, Light My Fire, People Are Strange, Love Me Two Times, 5 to 1, Roadhouse Blues. It's just endless hits on this best of the Doors. I actually sung karaoke. I went to karaoke and I sang, what did I sing? Riders on the Storm. And everyone said I did a great job. Of course, everybody was inebriated, but hey, I enjoy the Doors. So this one here, Best of the Doors, amazing, amazing album. Okay, yeah. Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. I remember this album very, very well. I was over my uncle's house, and he had all his albums in rows. And this album was in the front in one of the rows. And I looked at it, and it looked a little weird to me. Looked a little different than all the others. And I looked and I was like, what is this? And then my uncle said, oh, that's Miles Davis. And I knew the name Miles Davis, and I knew it was jazz, and I wasn't into jazz back then. So I was like, all right. He said, let me play it for you. And he played it, and it was very, I don't know what word comes to mind. It was very mystical. And I'm like, this is Miles Davis? Like, this is jazz? And it wasn't what I was expecting. So I did my research on Miles Davis, and I started from the beginning. And I'm like, okay, this does not sound like this. Kind of Blue, In a Silent Way, doesn't sound like this. And what I grew to understand was this was Miles Davis shifting. He going from the traditional jazz to more of a fusion with electric, more rock type sounds. I love Miles Davis for that because it was groundbreaking. Now I will say fusion is something that I listen to very limited. I more so listen to traditional jazz, but when you do that constantly, I think you have to evolve, you have to change, and this was Miles Davis evolving. Listening to Miles introduced me to Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, countless other jazz musicians. I'm grateful to Miles Davis. I named my son, his middle name is Miles, after Miles Davis. So Miles Davis, huge influence on me. Great album, Bitches Brew. Okay, next up, Funkadelic, Maggot Brain. I actually don't know where to begin with Funkadelic, Parliament, led by the creativeness of George Clinton. The album covers, man, I remember the album covers as growing up, just seeing each album cover was something that you could just look at for hours. That's what I love about albums versus CDs, especially cassettes. You get the album, but you get a poster, something that you can display. You can't display a CD, not really. And you can display a Parliament, Funkadelic, George Clinton album. This album in particular, amazing songs, Maggot Brain, Hit It and Quit It. I mean, forget about it. I can go on for days about the amazing songs I don't even know where to. I can talk about Funkadelic, George Clinton, all day. So, Maggot Brain, amazing album, awesome. All right, moving down the list. John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. I love Miles Davis. I love Miles Davis. But John Coltrane is a close second. When I discovered A Love Supreme, I mean, I can listen to A Love Supreme every day. I can sit back in a chair, turn the stereo on, and listen to Love Supreme every day. It is truly amazing. And there are different versions of A Love Supreme. I believe my favorite is Acknowledgement. And you know, it makes me think, like, what does an amazing jazz saxophonist do when he creates something like A Love Supreme? Well, I guess he sings. And I'm assuming that's John Coltrane singing A Love Supreme at the end of this Acknowledgement track. That it's like, that's the confidence of this amazing genius of a saxophonist. A Love Supreme. If you don't have this in your collection, I don't know what you're collecting. Great album. Okay. Next up, Billy Joel, the Piano Man. Billy Joel is interesting. He seems like I don't know. In my opinion, he's almost like Stevie Wonder, where, you know, just a creative, heartfelt songwriter and singer. I do think, I don't know, maybe my introduction to Billy Joel was Big Shot, Pressure, some songs, you know, that here. But when I heard Piano Man, I was locked. Piano Man is a beautiful, beautiful song. This album has, you know, other hits on it, you know, Captain Jack, things like that. But I bought this strictly because of Piano Man. Just a beautiful song that you just sit back and listen to and think. Great song. Can't say anything enough about Billy Joel. Just a amazing entertainer, amazing songwriter, and piano player. Piano Man. Next one, Steely Dan, Asia. When I remember when AM, all we had was AM when I was a kid. All we had was AM radio. And when FM came out, we were shocked because, you know, it didn't have the static of AM radio, which is interesting. That's a Steely Dan song, FM, no static at all. When I heard a few Steely Dan songs, I don't know which was first. I don't know if it was Hey 19. I don't know. But I was like, huh, this guy, this group, you know, Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, I was like, man, these guys are kind of cool. This is interesting. And when I heard Asia, it pulled at my heartstrings. That's another one that I can listen to all the time. And Steely Dan has countless hits. I'm going to say, out of all the concerts that I've been to in my life, Steely Dan, I believe, is number one. If it's not number one, it's a close second to the times that I've seen Prince. I really enjoy Steely Dan live. And yeah, I mean, just amazing. I'm a huge fan of Steely Dan, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of Steely Dan. So, and going down this, with purchasing all their albums, it introduced me to other groups like Chicago, amazing. That should be over here too. But Chicago, Boss Skaggs, Michael Franks, just music that kind of just blends right in with Steely Dan and their jazz, soft rock type of music. So great album, Asia Steely Dan. All right, Earth, Wind and Fire, Gratitude. Um, I love falsetto. I love the classics. I love the love songs, ballads, and um, I mean I can name all kind of people. David Ruffin, um, of course Smokey Robinson. I can go down a whole type of list, but Philip Bailey was cool. Philip Bailey is cool, and Earth, Wind and Fire was just something different. I don't know how many people on Earth were in Earth, Wind and Fire. At that time, it looked like 20 people, but it was amazing. The lead vocals of Philip Bailey were superb, and I mean the saxophone solo on Reasons, when they do the live version of Reasons, it is amazing. Like, who is this saxophone player? He plays a little different, and even Philip Bailey says, "Hey, he sounds so beautiful, don't you agree?" in the actual song. And he kind of goes through this battle with the saxophone, with his voice. It's amazing. So I don't know. Here, just beautiful songs. Devotion, Can't Hide Love, just amazing songs. Uh, I'm trying to think, what is my favorite song by Earth, Wind and Fire? I guess it depends on the day, but I Write a Song for You. Of course, Reasons is amazing. It's too many, just too many songs. But I Write a Song for You is a special one. It's not on this album, but it's a beautiful song. So here, Earth, Wind and Fire, Gratitude. Okay, almost down to the bottom of the list. I'm going to go with Songs of the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder was amazing to me because, I mean, honestly, I was like, man, this guy's blind. He can't see all this beauty, but yet he can create it. And through his songs, just as I spoke of Billy Joel, so heartfelt, just so heartfelt. Um, I don't know. I mean, Stevie Wonder, he did and does it all. And on this album, I'm going to say, of course, the hits: "I Wish," "Pastime," "Paradise," "Ordinary Pain," "Isn't She Lovely?" But me liking jazz and rock, what is something that I play on here besides "Knock Me Off My Feet" is a song on here called "Contusion." And I didn't even know. I thought it was like I thought it was anybody but Stevie Wonder. There's no, maybe a little bit of vocals in the background, but it is so rocky, so jazz rock kind of thing. Oh, it's amazing. But this album, and I think I have every single album that Stevie Wonder put out, but this is top. Songs of the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder. All right, we are at the bottom of the list, and I have this album that is very special to me. and it is Around the World in a Day by Prince. Um, why do I love Around the World in a Day? It's because it's not Purple Rain. And of course, Purple Rain hit, great movie, all that, loved it. But I like Prince's B-sides, not the hit, the B-side. And Around the World in a Day reminded me a bunch of B-side songs where it's like, look, I'm not trying to win an award here. I'm just going to give you some music. And I mean, I played this album. I had to buy another one. I played this hundreds of times. And, opening it up here, just Condition of the Heart, amazing song. Of course, Raspberry Beret was on here, but that was the hit. Condition of the Heart, that's something you'll never hear on the radio. Truly, truly amazing. Tambourine, countless times I played that. Pop Life, another B-side hit for Prince. And Temptation, I mean, that brings back some stuff. I used to have that on my little cassette tape when I would be entertaining young ladies, and I have a little something in the background. But yeah, Around the World in a Day by Prince, truly, truly amazing. And out of all the albums that Prince put out, and they're countless, I don't know how many, 25, 30 at least, this is my number one for Prince. And that will conclude the albums that have changed my life. But I do want to do an honorable mention. But before I do that, speaking of Prince, I was recently at a record store, and I found two things that are kind of rare, pertaining to Prince, but not exactly Prince, but groups that he produced. One would be The Family. This is hard to find. It's not streaming. I don't know what's going on. Prince is real funny in his estate. They're real funny about their music and putting this out and this and that. The Family is not out. You can't find The Family, and their hit song was Screams of Passion. They also sung Nothing Compares to You. And if you can find this, The Family, Screams of Passion album, amazing. And I also found Vanity 6. Why this album was $65, I didn't pay that, but it's was unopened, and it's supposed to have a poster in here that's kind of rare. So the whole Nasty Girl thing and all that, they said that this was like the female version of Prince. Vanity 6 that went on to Apollonia 6, and Apollonia of course was in Purple Rain, but it was supposed to be Vanity. So I always had a crush on Vanity like everybody else in the world, but beautiful young lady that's no longer with us anymore. But Vanity 6 was a beautiful group. All right, the honorable mention. I have to go with Heat Wave. Again, when I was talking about Philip Bailey, the falsettos, if I was to say my top 10, the lead singer for Heat Wave, Johnny Wilder, he's number one. He's number one. He sings like a hummingbird, very heartfelt songs, all wrote by Rod Temperton, who actually, when he left Heat Wave, or during that time, he ended up writing for Michael Jackson, George Benson, Patty Austin, just to name a few. But I mean, to go from Heat Wave to Michael Jackson, and Is Michael Jackson in anything that changed my life? I'm going to say no. I knew the Jacksons. I love and respect the Jacksons and Michael Jackson, but I was just a Prince fan. And you can't compare their record sales. I'm sure Michael Jackson was, I think Thriller was 66 million, and Prince Purple Rain was like 22. So you can't, I know Michael has the volume, but I'm saying how it affected my life, it was definitely Prince. But back to Heat Wave. I have all their albums, and Central Heating, amazing. Happiness, Togetherness, Mind Blowing Decisions, beautiful. It brings back memories. I remember we sang that in the 6th grade talent show. Yeah, yeah. So I got a little falsetto myself, but this is the honorable mention. This is the honorable mention. Heat Wave, Central Heating. Of course, I would love one of those fancy cabinets to store my vinyl albums. However, they're just too expensive, and I would need something a little larger because I want to have my stereo on it as well. So right now, I just have the wooden crates, and that's going to work for me right now. I also got these cool dividers to keep everything organized from Airwood Design. I found them on Etsy, so if you're looking for something cool, check those out. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope that you enjoyed my countdown of the 10 top albums that changed my life. I'm getting back into vinyl collecting. I'm going to start organizing things a little better. But hey, all of you out there, go through your parents' albums. If you're not collecting yourself, you would be surprised at how expensive vinyl is now. But again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and everybody be safe. Take care.